Chapter 23-28. The other people who were fighting with Lu Ming were even more shocked. They were almost scared to death, especially the rank 18 true emperor expert. He could easily kill 2 rank 17 true emperors, but he could not. Lu Ming's combat strength was far above his. Run, run. The remaining people only had this thought in their minds. They turned around and ran. The one with a rank 18 true emperor's combat power was the fastest to run. You want to leave? A cold glint flashed across Lu Ming's eyes. His 6-feathered divine wings appeared. With one flap, Lu Ming caught up with the man who had the combat power of a rank 18 true emperor. Seeing that he could not escape, the rank 18 true emperor turned around and roared. He exploded with all his power and charged at Lu Ming. However, it was all in vain. Lu Ming's punch landed and directly destroyed the opponent's attack. It pierced through the opponent's body and the terrifying force tore the opponent's body apart. Lu Ming stretched out his hand and grabbed the other party's world core. A rank 18 true emperor was also killed instantly. Many people were so shocked that they could not speak. This kind of combat strength was truly terrifying. What was the combat power of a rank 18 true emperor? That was, one had to have an ultimate law and control 9 king path laws at the same time to have the battle power of a rank 18 true emperor. Those who could reach this step were all top-tier heaven's favorites. Some people only comprehended an ultimate maxim after becoming a monarch, but they were also terrifying geniuses. Their future achievements would be limitless. It was obvious that the other party was such a character. The hearts of Lan Cheng and the others were bleeding. Today they lost Lan Yun one after another and also that expert just now. This was an absolutely unimaginable loss. However, they could only watch helplessly as those people were killed by Lu Ming. Kill? Lu Ming let out a long howl and flapped his 6-feathered wings continuously. He was extremely fast as he charged towards the remaining people. Those people screamed and begged, but it was useless. It was too late for them to regret. They were hunted down by Lu Ming one by one. Not long after, dozens of powerhouses had all fallen and the world core was dug out by Lu Ming. What kind of combat strength is this? An 18th level true emperor can't even fight back. This is too shocking. From now on, no one in the younger generation will be able to compete with Lu Ming. His opponents will be those of the older generation. The so-called 9 absolutes can't even withstand a single blow from him. Countless people were discussing and their hearts were in turmoil. How did this happen? Stellar River, Yuan Xian, and the other prodigies who had grudges with Lu Ming were all dumbfounded. Their eyes were wide open in disbelief. During the 10 Lands battle, although Lu Ming was strong, there was a limit to how much stronger he was. Moreover, even if Lu Ming could not become a martial emperor, they were confident that they would surpass him and crush him in the future. However, it had only been a few years and Lu Ming's ability had already reached a height that they could not hope to reach. The gap was too great. The current Lu Ming could kill them with one finger. They were still at the empty emperor realm, while Lu Ming could even kill a rank 18 true emperor. They were completely incomparable. He's awesome. I'll definitely follow him in the future. The unscrupulous monk kept calling out. We have to work hard too. Otherwise Lu Ming will leave us in the dust. Indeed. Long Qin, Feng Ling and the others sighed. Father, mother is right. Father is indeed unparalleled in the world. No one can compare to you. Looking at Lu Ming in the air, Lu Shenhuang clenched his fists in excitement. In Lan City, the Yin family's celestial the Arch, the Lan family's patriarch, and the others were all furious and filled with killing intent. However, they could only hold back their anger. Let's go. The Lan family's old ancestor snorted coldly and turned around to take a step forward, wanting to leave. Lan Cheng and the others were the same. Wait a moment. Lu Ming's voice was heard. The Lan family's ancestor and the rest stopped. What else do you have to say? Lan Cheng asked, suppressing his anger. Master Lan is really forgetful. I won first place, so where are the 100 chaos gems? Give them to me. Lu Ming said indifferently. You? Lan Cheng was so angry that he almost vomited blood. Lu Ming had killed so many people from the Lan family today. Now he was actually asking him for stones of chaos. This was preposterous. What's wrong? Your Lan family said it yourself. Don't tell me you don't want to admit it? Or perhaps you're toying with the others like monkeys? Lu Ming said indifferently. Lan Cheng was so angry that his lungs were about to explode. Give it to him. The Lan clan's old ancestor said. In the end, Lan Cheng had no choice but to take out a storage ring and throw it to Lu Ming. Lu Ming took it and saw that there were 100 chaos gems inside. Thank you. These chaos gems can help my cultivation level improve again. Ah. Lu Ming laughed heartily. Lan Cheng's eyelids and lips trembled non-stop. Thank you, my ass. If not for the circumstances, why would I give Lu Ming 100 chaos gems? It was for Xin Yuan. Let's go. Lan Qing squeezed out a word from the depths of his throat and turned to leave. The people from the Lan family, the Yen family, and those who were related to the Lan family all left and entered the large palace in the depths of the Lan family. Lu Ming did not let Earth One, Gold One or other body cultivators to keep the other party. With their strength they were enough to flatten the Lan family. However, the Lan family and the Yen family were, after all, major forces with ancient inheritances. With a few heavenly emperors they would be of great use to the heaven realm. If Lu Ming completely razed the Lan family to the ground because of Baitai's matter, he was afraid that the other celestial emperors in the heaven realm would intervene and stop him. Moreover, the Lan family's old ancestor was a peerless expert. If they were to run for their lives, they had no confidence in keeping him here. If a berserk peerless expert were to take revenge, that would be too terrifying. But now the other party was worried about Lu Ming's strength and definitely did not dare to take revenge. At least they would not dare to take revenge openly. Everyone in the surroundings sighed. They didn't think that today's matter would turn out like this. The Lan family and Xin Yuan were supposed to be the stars of the day. Xin Yuan had defeated Lin Xiaofeng and reached the top, becoming the #1 genius in the world. However, everything had changed drastically because of Lu Ming's appearance. In the end, the Lan family and the Yen family suffered heavy losses and left dejectedly. Lu Ming became the main character of the day. "Ha, Lu Ming, long time no see." The heartless monk rushed out with a face full of smiles. Long Qin, Huang Ling, Huang Li, Ouyang Wushuang, and the others also stepped into the air and came to Lu Ming's side. Lu Ming greeted everyone one by one. "Brother Long, this is for you." A jade bangle appeared in Lu Ming's hand and he passed it to Long Chen. This was Long Chen's fiancée, and Xian Yinlin had asked Lu Ming to give it to Long Chen. When Lu Ming was in the Divine Wilderness continent, he had taken the time to meet Xian Yinlin and told her about Long Chen's current situation. She then asked Lu Ming to help Long Chen wear a bangle. Long Chen's eyes flickered. He took the bangle and cupped his fists at Lu Ming. "Many thanks." "You're welcome. Xian Yinlin asked me to pass you a message. She said that she'll wait for you no matter how many years it takes." Lu Ming said. Long Chen didn't say much but his eyes were teary. "Father." At this moment, a voice was heard. Lu Shenhuang walked over. Chapter 23-29, Divine Wilderness. Lu Ming looked over and asked, "Where is your mother now?" "It's in the Taiqing heavenly region not far from here." Lu Shenhuang said. "Alright, let's leave this place first. Take me to your mother." Lu Ming said. Then the group left Blue Moon City. Hundreds of thousands of miles away, Lu Ming, Long Qin, Earth One, Gold One, the Eternal Universe Heavenly Emperor, and the others bade farewell and headed in a certain direction with Lu Shenhuang. Along the way the father and son talked a lot. Lu Ming also found out that Xian Yinqing had come to the Taiqing heavenly region more than 10 years ago. All these years he had been cultivating in the Taiqing heavenly region and had even taught Lu Shenhuang how to cultivate. Lu Ming was secretly amazed. In just a dozen years, Xian Yinqing was able to bring Lu Shenhuang's cultivation to the 3-star illusionary emperor stage. His combat strength was even more shocking. Lu Shenhuang's talent was undeniably shocking, but it had a lot to do with Xian Yinqing's method of teaching. "Divine Wilderness, has there been anything unusual about your mother all these years?" Lu Ming asked. "There are." Lu Shenhuang nodded his head and his face turned serious. "In mother's body, there seem to be two people who sometimes love me dearly and sometimes treat me coldly. But they have one thing in common, and that is that they will seriously teach me how to cultivate." "Like this?" Lu Ming muttered, his heart heavy. He recalled the time in the land of infinite demons. Wasn't Xian Yinqing the same? The day before they were fine. But after that he wanted to kill him. It seemed like a different person. Until now, Lu Ming still did not know what was going on. This was exactly what Lu Shenhuang had said. The two of them chatted as they traveled. This was the first time the father and son had met. At first they were a little distant, but as they chatted they felt that their relationship had become closer. Their speed was very fast and after a few days they arrived at a mountain range. On the peak of the highest mountain there was a lake. The lake was like a mirror, adorning the peak of the mountain, making this place look like a peach forest. There was a figure standing by the lake wearing a black dress. Her long black hair reached her waist and fluttered in the wind, making her look like a goddess who had descended to the mortal world. Little Qing. Lu Ming's heart trembled and a sense of joy welled up in his heart. That figure was definitely Xian Yinqing. Lu Ming would not mistake him for someone else. Even if it was just his back, Lu Ming would not forget it. It had been more than 10 years. It had been more than 10 years since they had parted ways in the land of myriad demons. Mother! Lu Shenhuang shouted and flew towards Xian Yanqing. Divine Wilderness, you are back. Did you gain anything from this trip? What kind of heaven's favorite did I encounter? Xian Yanqing said in a clear voice before turning around. She looked exactly the same as before. After not seeing her for more than 10 years, Xian Yanqing's face had not changed at all. Lu Ming looked at Xian Yanqing in a daze. When Xian Yanqing turned around, he saw Lu Ming. Her words came to an abrupt end and she looked at Lu Ming in a daze. Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing muttered in disbelief. She could not believe that she would meet Lu Ming here. Furthermore, Lu Ming came with Lu Shenhuang. This was beyond her expectations. Mother, look who I've brought. Lu Shenhuang flew over. Lu Ming. Xian Yanqing murmured. Tears welled up in her eyes as she missed Lu Ming dearly. Then she stepped into the air and flew toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming also flew over. However, when Xian Yanqing was halfway through her flight, her delicate body trembled. At that moment her gaze changed. It became as cold as a knife. When she looked at Lu Ming, she was filled with murderous intent. Lowly ant die. Xian Yanqing's voice was as cold as a knife. A jet-black sword light slashed at Lu Ming. Not good. Lu Ming's expression changed drastically. Xian Yanqing's move was a fatal threat to him. He felt that if he was hit by this move he would definitely die. Retreat. Lu Ming retreated rapidly. At this moment, Lu Ming burst out with all his strength and retreated like a bolt of lightning. However, the jet-black sword light was like a bone-piercing awl, following closely behind Lu Ming at a speed faster than his. Block. A long spear was condensed in Lu Ming's hands. This long spear was formed by 9 types of laws. It was Lu Ming's most powerful Abhijna, the infinite dragon spear. At the same time, Lu Ming's physical strength and world energy burst out. Whoosh, whoosh. The long spear trembled. At this moment, Lu Ming stabbed out hundreds of times in a row. Hundreds of spear gleams stabbed at the jet-black sword gleam. This could be said to be Lu Ming's most powerful combat ability at the moment. No true emperor could block this move. Boom, boom, boom. A few hundred spear radiances struck the black sword radiance in succession, causing continuous explosions. However, the jet-black sword gleam was extremely sharp. Lu Ming's spear gleam exploded inch by inch and was swept away. Whoosh. Although Lu Ming resisted with all his might and retreated rapidly at the same time, there was still a sharp gleam that swept past him. Even though Lu Ming had activated the imperishable golden body and his physical defense, he could not withstand the attack. His body was almost cut in half and a deep wound appeared. Even his bone armor was broken. Lu Ming spat out a mouthful of blood, his eyes filled with shock. Great Emperor. He could clearly sense that Xian Yanqing's cultivation had already reached the Great Emperor realm. This speed was too fast. One must know that Lu Ming's cultivation speed was already astonishingly fast. It could be said that he was advancing at a tremendous pace. However, Xian Yanqing's speed of improvement was even faster than his. He had already entered the Great Emperor realm. Coupled with that terrifying power, Lu Ming was no match for him at all. The difference was too great. Kill? Xian Yanqing was surprised to see that his attack did not kill Lu Ming. He shouted and charged at Lu Ming again. Mother, don't. At this moment, Shenhuang Lu shouted and rushed over in a panic. Hearing Lu Shenhuang's voice, Xian Yanqing's body trembled and she stopped her pursuit. Her eyes were filled with struggle. Mother, don't kill father. Don't. Lu Shenhuang shouted as he rushed forward and stood in front of Xian Yanqing. Lu Ming seized the opportunity to circulate the indestructible ancient scroll with all his might and focus on recovering from his injuries. His wounds were recovering at an astonishing speed. Little Qing, wake up, it's me. Lu Ming shouted. Mother, it's father. Lu Shenhuang also shouted. The struggle in Xian Yanqing's eyes grew stronger and stronger. Finally he shouted, Lu Ming, leave quickly. Leave quickly. With that, Xian Yanqing turned around and disappeared in a flash of light. Little Qing. Lu Ming shouted and chased after him at top speed. However, Xian Yanqing was too fast. He was nowhere to be seen. Damn it, what's going on? Lu Ming roared angrily. He really could not figure it out. Xian Yanqing's condition didn't seem like he had been possessed. When they first met, it was indeed Xian Yanqing. However, it was as if he had become a different person. Lu Shenhuang was also at a loss. He did not expect that the meeting between his parents would end up like this. Chapter 23:30. The father and son stood in place looking at each other, not knowing what to do. Lu Ming. At this moment, a voice was heard. Lu Ming turned around and saw a graceful figure in a long white dress. She looked almost the same as Xian Yanqing, peerless in beauty. Thank you, Yanjuan. Lu Ming was at a loss for words. He had never expected that Xian Yanjuan would be nearby. Back at Yuan Mountain, Lu Ming had gone to the ancient sacred clan to look for Xian Yanjuan. His purpose was to find out about Xian Yanqing. However, the people of the ancient sacred clan told him that Xian Yanjuan had left and no one knew where he was. It turned out that Xian Yanjuan had also come to the heavenly realm. Aunt? Lu Shenhuang let out a smile and flew over. It was obvious that Lu Shenhuang and Xian Yanjuan knew each other. Xian Yanjuan flew in the air and stopped in front of Lu Ming. He sized him up curiously. Lu Ming, I haven't seen you for many years. Your cultivation has improved a lot. Xian Yanjuan smiled. I can't compare to you, Lu Ming said. He sized up Xian Yanjuan and the surprise in his eyes intensified. Unfathomable. In his eyes, Xian Yanjuan was unfathomable. He had no idea what Xian Yanjuan's current realm was. However, he was definitely not a true emperor, nor was he a true emperor. He was definitely above a true emperor. Great Emperor realm. It was very likely that Xian Yanjuan's cultivation was also at the Great Emperor realm. At the thought of this, Lu Ming was dumbfounded. What was going on? How could Xian Yanqing and Xian Yanjuan's cultivation speed be so fast? Lu Ming had to go through countless hardships to reach his current cultivation level. The other Heaven Realm Heaven's Pride experts were even weaker. For example, Shen Yuan-Yi only had the combat power of a level 15 true emperor. However, he was the strongest after Lu Ming. However, Xian Yanqing and Xian Yanjuan, who were about the same age as Lu Ming and the rest, had already broken through to the Great Emperor realm. If this were to spread out, it would probably scare people to death. Lu Ming, don't you want to know why Xian Yanqing is like this now? Xian Yanjuan smiled. You know? Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Of course one know. Let's go to the side and talk. Little guy, don't follow me. Xian Yanjuan said to Lu Shenhuang before he walked towards the center of the lake. Lu Ming followed behind him. The two of them came to the center of the lake and stood on the surface. Lu Ming looked at Xian Yanjuan, waiting for her answer. Do you know about your past and present life? Xian Yanjuan retorted. Past and present life? Lu Ming was stunned. Xian Yanjuan did not answer. He only smiled at Lu Ming. You mean reincarnation, past life and present life? Lu Ming asked. That's right, reincarnation, past life and present life. Xian Yanjuan nodded. How is that possible? As far as one knows, although the world has the law of reincarnation, no one can be reincarnated. Once you die, your body dies and your Tao vanishes, everything becomes nothing. Lu Ming said. At Lu Ming's current cultivation level, he understood more. No one in the world could reincarnate. At most, one could possess a body. Even a peak heavenly emperor invincible powerhouse would not be able to reincarnate. Moreover, Lu Ming had once asked the reincarnation emperor about it, and the reincarnation emperor had given him a similar answer. They can't be reincarnated because those people are too weak. As long as their cultivation realm is high enough, anything is possible. Xian Yanjuan said with a hint of disdain. Lu Ming was tongue-tied and did not know how to answer for a moment. Too weak? A peak heavenly emperor was too weak in Xian Yanjuan's words? A peak heavenly emperor was already an unrivaled powerhouse in this world. According to Lu Ming's knowledge, only the ancestral dragon was above the heavenly emperor. Could it be that there was reincarnation above the heavenly emperor? You're saying that little Qing is the reincarnation of an expert, and her memories of her past life have been awakened? With Lu Ming's intelligence, he immediately thought of many things. That's right. Xian Yanqing is indeed the reincarnation of a powerful figure. Moreover, the memories of her previous life have been awakened. That's why when you see Xian Yanqing, it's as if there are two people in her body. Originally, the awakening of the memories of my previous life should be melded with the memories of this life. In the end, with the memories of my previous life as the dominant factor, it's highly possible that I'll once again step onto the unparalleled path, and even surpass my previous life. However, Xian Yanqing didn't want to merge his previous life with his current life. Once he did, he would have to use his previous life's memories as the main focus. If that happened, he wouldn't be the Xian Yanqing he is now. That's why this is happening. Xian Yanjuan explained. So it's like this. After Xian Yanjuan's explanation, Lu Ming had a sudden realization. Reincarnation actually existed in this world. Xian Yanqing had awakened the memories of his past life, but he was unwilling to merge them together. Xian Yinqing definitely couldn't let go, so he didn't want to merge with her. Therefore it was as if there were two people in Xian Yinqing's body. One moment he was controlled by the memories of his previous life, and the other moment he was controlled by the memories of this life. Xian Yinqing must have been an extremely powerful expert in his past life. However, Lu Ming had taken possession of his body and his chastity. Xian Yinqing felt humiliated, so he wanted to kill Lu Ming the moment he saw him. Many thoughts flashed through Lu Ming's mind. Also, back in the demonic sea of the land of infinite demons, those black-robed men had stolen the ancient demon coffin and placed Xian Yinqing inside. It was very likely that they were trying to help Xian Yinqing regain his memories. Lu Ming had figured everything out. Oh. Lu Ming took a deep breath and looked at Xian Yinjuan. You're also a reincarnation of an expert, right? Not bad. In my previous life, Xian Yinqing and I were sisters. Xian Yinjuan smiled. Lu Ming was slightly taken aback. In his previous life, Xian Yinjuan and Xian Yinqing were biological sisters. They had both reincarnated and were still sisters after reincarnation. No wonder they looked so similar. And it was obvious that Xian Yanjin's memories of his past life and present life had merged. However, in the history of the Heaven Realm, were there such two strong people? What level were you at in your previous life? Could it be the realm above Heavenly Emperor? Lu Ming was very puzzled. More questions emerged in his heart. Above Heavenly Emperor? Forget it, one won't talk about this anymore. You won't understand anyway. 111 teach you how to help Xian Yinqing. Xian Yinjuan said. You have a way? Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Of course. You just need to help her and let her memories of her past and present life merge together. That's all. Xian Yinjuan said. No, according to what you said, the memory of the previous life and the current life will merge, and the previous life will be the dominant one. At that time, Little Qing will not be Little Qing. No. Lu Ming shook his head. This was hard for him to accept. Who said that after the fusion, the previous life must be the dominant one? Xian Yinjuan pouted. Right now, Xian Yinqing has two memories. He's fighting for control. Whoever has the upper hand and has the absolute advantage in devouring the other's memory will naturally be the dominant one. For example, if Xian Yinqing's memory of this life prevailed and he devoured the memory of his previous life, it would only mean that he had an extra memory. It would have no effect on his personality. Xian Yinqing would still be Xian Yinqing. Do you understand? Xian Yinjuan explained. Chapter 23:31. Lu Ming nodded. He could understand this. It was just like how he had fused with some of the 9 dragons' memory fragments back then, but that didn't affect him. It only meant that he had some more memories, but he was still himself and wouldn't become another person. It was the same for Xian Yinqing. As long as Xian Yinqing's memories of this life prevailed and she devoured the memories of her previous life, she would only have some more memories. Not only would she be fine, but she would also obtain a great opportunity. What should I do to make Little Qing's memories of this life devour the memories of her previous life? Lu Ming asked. It's simple. Xian Yinjuan smiled slyly and said, actually you have the advantage now. You have a son, the son of Xian Yinqing in you. With a son by her side, it can greatly affect Xian Yinqing's memory of this life. It will make her more obsessed and reluctant to let go. That's why her memory of this life can't be combined with her memory of her previous life. From now on, as long as you can stay by Xian Yinqing's side and accompany her, her obsession will naturally become stronger. You can even get to know her more and sleep with her more. Her memories of this life will naturally take over and then devour the memories of her previous life. All? Lu Ming was somewhat dumbfounded. Sleep with more? Was that simple? How is it? Don't you feel happy? The method I taught you was not bad, right? Xian Yinjuan smiled. Lu Ming smiled bitterly. The memories of her previous life make her hate me to death. I'm afraid she'll kill me before I can even get close to her, let alone sleep with her. Lu Ming touched his nose and said, that's why your cultivation is too weak. You should focus on your cultivation. As long as your cultivation surpasses Xian Yinqing, you will be able to suppress her and subdue her. Then, you will be able to do whatever you want. Xian Yinjuan smiled slyly. Lu Ming was completely speechless. He felt immense pressure. It was mainly because Xian Yinqing's cultivation speed was too fast. As the reincarnation of an expert of unknown strength, even if the memories of his past life and present life were not merged, his cultivation speed was still shocking. Now he was already in the Great Emperor realm. It was too difficult for Lu Ming to catch up or even surpass Xian Yinqing. Is there no other way besides this? Lu Ming asked, unwilling to give up. No more. Xian Yinjuan shook his head. So you're saying that it's impossible for little Qing to recover in a short time? Lu Ming asked again. Yes, I am. Xian Yinjuan nodded. Lu Ming sighed helplessly. In the end, his cultivation level was too weak. Why are you helping me? Lu Ming asked curiously after a while. It's simple. Once Xian Yinqing devours the memories of her previous life, her cultivation speed will definitely slow down. In the future she will no longer be my match. Xian Yinjuan chuckled as she spoke. Lu Ming was speechless. It turned out that this was the reason. With the memories of his past life taking over, Xian Yinqing would become a terrifying expert. His cultivation speed would naturally be shocking. However, the memory of this life devouring the memory of the previous life would only give him some more memories. Although it was also a supreme opportunity, there would still be a huge gap. In the end, Lu Ming stayed behind and accompanied Lu Shenhuang for a period of time. He gave Lu Shenhuang some cultivation resources. What Lu Shenhuang cultivated was not the system of laws. It was the system that Xian Yinqing cultivated. Lu Ming had never seen it before, but it was extremely exquisite and its power was shocking. Lu Ming stayed for another month. However, Xian Yinqing did not appear during this month. Lu Ming was helpless. He left a month later. Lu Shenhuang did not leave with Lu Ming. He continued to stay by Xian Yinqing's side. Cultivation. I must speed up my cultivation and help little Qing's memories of this life to devour her memories of her previous life. On the way back, Lu Ming secretly swore. He had thought that his cultivation speed was already very fast. He had even defeated Shen Yuan Yi and suppressed all the other geniuses to obtain first place. This made him feel like he was standing at the peak. But now he was under great pressure. Because of Xian Yinqing. Xian Yinqing's cultivation speed was faster than his. It was easier said than done to catch up or even surpass Xian Yinqing. This forced Lu Ming to keep moving forward. Not long after, Lu Ming contacted Earth One and the rest. Lu Ming brought Earth One and the rest, as well as the physical cultivators, back to Two World City. With the addition of these experts, Two World City's strength had increased greatly. The news of the battle in Blue Moon City had spread throughout the Taiqing Heavenly region. Lu Ming's reputation had reached its peak. After defeating Shen Yuan Yi, there was no doubt that Lu Ming stood at the peak of the younger generation. Furthermore, the number of celestial thearchs standing behind Lu Ming was even more shocking. There was no doubt that Lu Ming had a great influence in the heaven realm. His influence was even greater than some of the celestial thearchs. After Lu Ming returned to Two World City, he devoted himself to cultivation. Meanwhile, Long Chen, Huang Ling, and Bubbles had also come to Two World City to cultivate. Sometimes they would go to the battlefields outside the city to train themselves. In addition, people like Heng Xinghe, Yuan Xian, and Tian Ming, as well as the other heaven realm's proud children of heaven, including Juju, were all cultivating desperately. The battle at Blue Moon City had let them see Lu Ming's combat strength. Lu Ming had given them unimaginable pressure and made them understand their own shortcomings, forcing all the paragons to cultivate with all their might. In this great era where geniuses were as common as clouds, if one did not progress fast enough, they would be surpassed and crushed by others. Time flew by, and in the blink of an eye, 5 years had passed. To some emperor-ranked powerhouses, 5 years was merely a blink of an eye. However, to prodigies like Lu Ming and the rest, 5 years was of great significance. In the past 5 years, Lu Ming had made great progress in all aspects. First of all, Lu Ming had already cultivated the Seven Gods' mysterious technique to the late stage of the Fourth Realm. Now Lu Ming could defeat and even kill a rank 18 true emperor powerhouse with only his physical strength. This was just pure physical strength. However, the drop of ancestral dragon blood at his heart had almost been consumed. There was only a little left. Also, Lu Ming's remaining laws had all reached the Third Realm. Lu Ming's 9 types of laws had all reached the Third Realm. Over the years, Lu Ming had refined all the 100 chaos gems he had obtained from the Land family. His cultivation had reached the peak of a 6-star true emperor, and he was not far from becoming a 7-star true emperor. This was an improvement in all aspects. Lu Ming did not know how strong his combat strength was now. Anyway, he could kill a rank 18 true emperor with a snap of his fingers. I wonder how my current strength is compared to a great emperor? Lu Ming pondered in his heart. A great emperor was much, much stronger than a true emperor. A great emperor cultivated all 9 types of nomological laws to the Third Realm, then used the 9 types of nomological laws to develop a great Tao. Great emperors could use the power of great Taos. Their battle power was far greater than a true emperor's. The difference was too great. Chapter 2332, Therefore Lu Ming was very curious now. Could he fight against the great emperor? Let's go and try. Lu Ming ended his cultivation and flew in one direction of Two World City. Not long after, Lu Ming came to an extremely open area. It was a drill ground in Two World City. The army and experts of Two World City usually trained here. From afar, Lu Ming could see a few huge light barriers that looked like a few big bowls that were upside down on the ground. All around the light barrier there were different living beings. There were humans and all sorts of divine beasts. Lu Ming looked over and saw more than 10 true dragons circling the body. They were suspended in the air and were looking at one of the light shields seriously. There were also 8 to 9 phoenixes and more than 10 qilin. Here, divine beasts that were rarely seen in other places could be seen everywhere. The Two World City had gathered almost half of the Supreme Pure Heaven Region 1's powerhouses. Boom, boom. Violent rumbles came from the few light barriers. Someone was fighting inside. Lu Ming flew over and came to one of the light shields. Inside, a human powerhouse and a huge heavenly snake were fighting against each other. Both of them were true emperors with the battle power of a level 15 true emperor. They were considered top experts among true emperors. The living beings standing around the light barrier were at the true emperor realm. This is the place where the true emperors fight. Lu Ming's heart stirred. These light barriers were like battle platforms. They were places for the cultivators of Two World City to battle and train themselves. The light shield was formed by a formation and was firm and immortal. One could unleash their power as much as they wanted in the battle. After all, it was too dangerous to train on the battlefield outside Two World City. A single mistake could cost him his life. Therefore, many people fought and killed each other here to train themselves. Of course, the effect was definitely not as good as on the battlefield because it was impossible to kill the other party here. At most, they would be seriously injured. Lu Ming, it's Lu Ming. The moment Lu Ming arrived, many people recognized him and caused a commotion. Many people's faces changed. Could it be that Lu Ming was going to make a move? Who in the true emperor realm could be his match? 5 years ago, Lu Ming could already kill a rank 18 true emperor with ease. Now that 5 years had passed, Lu Ming must have become even more unfathomable. However, Lu Ming had no intention of making a move. He had no interest in the true emperor realm as it was of no use to him. Lu Ming looked at it for a while and walked towards another light shield. This light barrier was more than 10 times larger than the previous one. Light flowed and flickered with a metallic luster. Inside there were 2 figures constantly clashing with each other. Terrifying rumbles shook the hearts of the people. The energy shot out in all directions but it was blocked by the light shield. The light shield kept shaking but it was not shattered. Great Emperor. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. The ones fighting within the light barrier were Great Emperor realm experts. There were also a few people watching around the light barrier, but the number was much smaller. In the heaven realm there were many true emperors no less than void emperors. This was because it was not particularly difficult to break through to the true emperor realm from the void emperor realm. As long as he had 3 types of laws, reached the second realm, and his cultivation reached the peak of the 7-star void emperor realm, he would be able to make a breakthrough. As long as one's talent wasn't too bad, it wouldn't be difficult to break through after a long time. However, breaking through to RHE Great Emperor realm wasn't something that could be endured. To break through to the Great Emperor realm, one had to have 9 types of laws and reach the 3rd realm. At the very least, one of them had to be a king path law. Those who were not talented enough would never be able to reach this level in their entire lives. Not to mention he had comprehended a great Tao with 9 types of nomological laws. There might not even be one great emperor out of 100 true emperors. A great emperor was considered a first-class expert in the heaven realm. He would be respected wherever he went. Therefore it was normal for great emperors to be rare here. Lu Ming. The great emperor's gazes flickered when they saw Lu Ming walking over. Could it be that Lu Ming wanted to spar with the great emperor? Not only did RHE great emperors think so, but the true emperors from before also thought so. Lu Ming went to the emperor battlefield. Does he want to spar with the emperor? Someone in the true emperor area exclaimed. That's impossible. The difference between a true emperor and a great emperor is too great. Even if Lu Ming can easily kill a level 18 true emperor, it's hard to fight against a great emperor. In history, no one has ever been able to fight a great emperor with the cultivation of a true emperor. Let's go and take a look. Many true emperors were flying toward the battle. Even the battle between the void thearchs in the distance was alarmed. Many void thearchs also flew over to watch from a distance. Lu Ming did not speak. He stared at the 2 people inside the light shield. The 2 people inside the light shield should be 2-star great emperors, and their battle was extremely intense. Boom. Boom. The two of them controlled Rhe power of the Great Path and continued to bombard it, developing terrifying attacks. Soon the two were evenly matched and neither could win. It was a draw and they were forced out of the light shield. Lu Ming, what are you doing here? Don't tell me you're looking for a great emperor to fight. At this moment, a voice was heard. A burly middle-aged man walked over. Not bad. Lu Ming nodded and did not hide anything. He had come to find a great emperor to fight and test his combat power. Many people were shocked. Lu Ming actually wanted to fight a great emperor. He was so confident. A true emperor fighting a great emperor? Ehe, I've never heard of that. Aren't you being too arrogant? The middle-aged man sneered and revealed a mocking expression. Lu Ming narrowed his eyes slightly. This person ridiculed him the moment he arrived. It seemed like he was very unhappy with him. Which force are they from? Lu Ming pondered in his heart. What's your cultivation level? Lu Ming asked. 1-star Great Emperor. The middle-aged man replied. Alright, it's you then. I challenge you now. Come in and have a fight. Lu Ming was very direct. He challenged the other party directly. With that, he stepped into the light shield. If one entered from the outside, the light shield would not have the slightest reaction. However, if there was a force inside, the light shield would produce a strong defense. Seeing that Lu Ming actually challenged him, the middle-aged man's eyes glowed with a cold light. Everyone, Lu Ming was too arrogant and challenged me first. I didn't bully Rhe weak or the strong. The middle-aged man said with an excited expression. Initially, he wanted to find a reason to challenge Lu Ming. He did not expect Lu Ming to challenge him first. It was exactly what he wanted. Although he was only a 1-star Great Emperor and had comprehended an ordinary Great Tao, he was confident that he could easily suppress Lu Ming. A Great Emperor wasn't someone a true emperor could compare to. The top heaven's favorites who mastered 1 supreme law, 8 king path laws and cultivated them to the 3rd level only had the battle power of a rank 18 true emperor. Even the weakest Great Emperor was much stronger than a rank 18 true emperor. A true emperor couldn't be a match for a Great Emperor. This was the truth. Chapter 23:33. The crowd was shocked. They did not expect Lu Ming to really challenge a great emperor. Furthermore, he was taking the initiative. A true emperor fighting a great emperor, this was enough to shock the world. Bang. The middle-aged man took a step forward and stepped into the light shield, standing opposite Lu Ming. Who do you think will win, Lu Ming or Lan Mo? Outside, some people started to discuss in low voices. I think Lan Mo will win for sure. Although Lu Ming's combat strength is strong and he could easily kill a level 18 true emperor 5 years ago, the difference between a true emperor and a great emperor is too great. I've never heard of a true emperor fighting a great emperor. Even the strongest true emperor is no match for the weakest great emperor. That's right. Lu Ming is definitely not his match. I'm guessing that Lu Ming will be defeated within 20 moves. 20 moves? If Lu Ming has not made much progress in the past 5 years, I don't think he can even withstand 10 moves. Many people were discussing, but no one thought that Lu Ming could fight against the great emperor. The gap between them was too big. Blue membrane? It seems that you are from the Lan family. Lu Ming said indifferently, a cold glint flashing in his eyes. No wonder he was ridiculed by Lan Mo the moment he appeared here. It turned out that he was from the Lan family. That's right, Lu Ming. You're really arrogant. Although I can't kill you here, no one will say anything if I abuse you. Lan Mo said maliciously. Oh really? Let's see if you have the ability to do so. Lu Ming smiled faintly. Then let me see what you, the number 1 heaven's pride in the heaven realm, have. Lan Mo said coldly. Then with a loud boom, Lan Mo's figure charged towards Lu Ming at an astonishing speed. He threw a punch at Lu Ming with the force of Mount Tai. At this moment, Lu Ming squinted his eyes. The power of his physical body and the power of the world burst out. Buzz. Lu Ming struck out with his palm. There were 6 types of lusters on his palm, which contained 6 types of laws. Chaos laws, death laws, devouring laws, smithing laws, array laws and pill laws. This was a sacred art. Lu Ming had obtained the advanced version of the ancient chaos scripture. It recorded many supernormal abilities and contained many types of laws. One of the palm techniques contained 9 types of nomological laws. It was an evolved version of the chaos divine palm. However, Lu Ming had only cultivated 4 of the 9 types of laws. Over the years, Lu Ming had made improvements to them by integrating the death law and other laws into them. It had become Lu Ming's unique divine power, and its power was even more shocking. Lu Ming was casting this kind of divine power. Boom. Lu Ming's palm and Lan Mo's fist collided with a deafening boom. A terrifying force shot out in all directions from the collision of their palms and fists. It hit the light shield but was blocked. Bang! Bang! Their bodies trembled and they both took a dozen steps back. The ground they stepped on exploded. What? Everyone's eyes widened in shock. In the first move, Lu Ming managed to block the blue membrane's attack. The two of them were evenly matched. How was this possible? Lan Mo hasn't used his full strength yet. He's just testing the waters. A great emperor spoke. A great emperor was actually forced back by a true emperor. This was extremely embarrassing. Even the other great emperors felt ashamed. Within the light barrier, the blue membrane was furious. He had actually been forced back by a true emperor. A great emperor being forced back by a true emperor had never happened before. Lu Ming, you've successfully angered me. Kill. Lan Mo roared and pounced toward Lu Ming like a cannonball. He kept punching with both fists. Before his fists even reached Lu Ming, a terrifying pressure was already pressing down on him. That was the pressure of the Great Tao. Great emperors could control great Taos and borrow the power of great Taos to become shockingly powerful. The Great Tao was a profound meaning that was even stronger than laws. It was extremely powerful. Lu Ming was not afraid at all. He waved his palm to meet the attack. This time there was one more law in Lu Ming's palm. There were 7 types of laws. Bang! Bang! The two of them clashed continuously, and in the blink of an eye, they had exchanged dozens of moves. It was still difficult to determine the winner. The power of a great Tao is indeed amazing. In the middle of the battle, Lu Ming was secretly shocked. Lu Ming's current divine power contained 7 types of laws. However, under the bombardment of the other party's great Tao, it was in imminent danger. It felt as if it was going to be penetrated and torn apart. If not for the fact that Lu Ming's physical strength was extremely strong and made up for this deficiency, he might not be able to fight against the other party. The two of them fought with speed, constantly colliding with each other. The terrifying force bombarded the light shield, causing it to shake violently. Damn it! Lan Mo roared angrily. He had made so many moves but he could not take down Lu Ming. He felt that he had lost face. If he could not defeat Lu Ming today, he would definitely become a laughingstock among the great emperors. On the contrary, he had helped Lu Ming achieve his goal and raised his reputation. Brr. Suddenly, Lan Mo's body let out a deafening roar, and a giant lion appeared above his head. This was a golden lion with golden fur that shone with life. It was extraordinarily majestic. This wasn't a real lion but a divine art formed from the great Tao. This lion was covered by the blue membrane, and the blue membrane was in the center of the lion, as if it had transformed into a golden lion. Brr. The golden lion roared and pounced at Lu Ming. You've finally used your ultimate move? Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. At this moment, 9 different radiances emanated from Lu Ming's palm. He used all 9 types of laws. The power of this divine power technique was not any weaker than the infinite dragon spear. It was most suitable for close combat. Buzz. Lu Ming's figure also rushed out. He struck out with his palm and the void was shattered, revealing a dark void. His palm seemed to pass through space and struck out. As for Lan Mo, he waved a lion's claw and clawed at Lu Ming. Bang! The two of them collided once again. This time the boom was even more intense and a terrifying force was triggered. However, the result was that the two of them were still evenly matched and they were forced to retreat. Impossible! Lan Mo roared in disbelief. He had already used all his strength, but he could not take down Lu Ming. He was shocked. He roared in anger and charged at Lu Ming. The two of them fought fiercely. The people watching the battle outside the light barrier were equally stunned and shocked. Oh my god, Lu Ming can actually fight against Lan Mo and not be at a disadvantage at all. This is too terrifying. He's only a true emperor but he's this strong. How is this possible? What's going on? He's also a true emperor, but the other true emperors can't even withstand a single blow from him. Many people couldn't believe it. A true emperor couldn't be a match for a great emperor. This was the truth. But now the truth had been broken. As a true emperor, Lu Ming's cultivation base was no weaker than a great emperor's. Abnormal. As expected, he was an abnormal being who had become a saint emperor with many laws. He could not be measured with common sense. In the end, everyone could only comfort themselves like this. Chapter 2334. In the blink of an eye, the two exchanged dozens of moves, but it was still difficult to determine the winner. The great emperor is indeed extraordinary. The great Tao that Lan Mo comprehended should only be an ordinary great Tao, but it's so powerful. One wonder how powerful the strongest great Tao is. Lu Ming's mind was filled with all kinds of thoughts. There were two types of great Taos. In the true emperor realm, those who had not comprehended an ultimate law and only evolved a great Tao from a king Tao law and ordinary laws were ordinary great Taos. As for those who comprehended the ultimate laws, they were great Taos evolved from one type of ultimate law and all the other king Tao laws. They were called the ultimate great Tao. Among those of the same level, the strongest great Tao was much more powerful than ordinary great Taos. Lan Mo had only comprehended an ordinary great Tao and was a one-star great emperor. He was definitely considered weak among great emperors. If it was a one-star great emperor who had comprehended the strongest great Tao, Lu Ming would most likely be hard-pressed to defeat him. Then let's change our strategy. There was a flash in Lu Ming's eyes. He suddenly changed his offensive to a full-force attack, completely disregarding defense. This was a desperate fight. Lu Ming's attack changed and increased sharply, suppressing the blue film in an instant. Damn it, you don't care about defense. You think I'm afraid of you? Go. Lan Mo roared. He also gave up on defense and attacked with all his might. Normally, when people fought against each other, they would reserve some of their strength for defense. Now that they were going all out to attack, both of them were instantly hit. Bang. Bang. Lan Mo's punch landed on Lu Ming's shoulder, and Lu Ming's palm also hit Lan Mo's shoulder. The two of them trembled and retreated. The difference was that there was a dent on Lu Ming's shoulder. However, not a single drop of blood flowed out. The wound was healing rapidly. As for Lan Mo, he was in a much worse state. It was as if his shoulder had been cut by a battle blade, almost chopping off one of his arms. A deep wound was revealed and blood was flowing out. Even his bones had been shattered. Lan Mo's face was slightly pale. Although the great emperor's recovery ability was also extremely shocking, it could not be compared to Lu Ming's. Kill? Lu Ming did not give the blue membrane any time to recover and launched another attack. Lan Mo was injured and it was almost impossible for him to move one of his arms. His combat strength was greatly reduced and he was at a complete disadvantage. He was no match for Lu Ming. Bang. Bang. Following that, Lan Mo was hit continuously by Lu Ming and spat out large mouthfuls of blood. Although he managed to hit Lu Ming was not seriously injured and his combat strength was not affected. Indestructible ancient scroll. Lan Mo roared, extremely unwilling. He knew that Lu Ming had used the indestructible ancient scroll and was not afraid of being injured. Bang. Lu Ming seized the opportunity and landed a palm on Lan Mo's face. Lan Mo screamed and his body was sent flying. Blood mixed with his teeth flew out and he hit the light shield. Lan Mo's brain was buzzing, he was completely stunned. Lu Ming would not let go of such an opportunity. He rushed over and punched and kicked Lan Mo's face and body. The blue membrane was like a sandbag. It was instantly bombarded by Lu Ming with dozens of moves. After a few dozen moves, the blue membrane flew out and fell to the ground. It was covered in blood and twitched non-stop. Gasps of shock could be heard. Outside the light barrier, whether it was the Void Emperor, the True Emperor, or the Great Emperor, all of them were so shocked that their mouths were wide open. A great emperor had been defeated by a young true emperor. Furthermore, he had lost so badly. He had been madly abused. He had been abused so badly that even his mother couldn't recognize him. It was really tragic. Needless to say, Lan Mo would definitely become a laughing stock and Lu Ming's reputation would be pushed to the peak. A true emperor had defeated a great emperor. This had completely broken the truth and created a miracle. Ah, not bad. I've had a great time today. Lu Ming laughed. He had basically figured out his own combat strength. Of course, if he used the indestructible ancient scroll and fought with all his might, he would be able to suppress his opponent. He should be able to compete with a one-star great emperor who had comprehended the most powerful great Tao. His main purpose in this battle was to test his abilities. Now that the test was over, Lu Ming decided to leave. Lan Mo's mind was initially clearer. However, after hearing Lu Ming's words, he was so angry that he spat out a mouthful of blood. He roared and fainted. "I'm dizzy." Lu Ming pursed his lips. He then took a step forward and left the light shield. When the others saw Lu Ming coming out, they automatically made way for him. This was an invisible force. Lu Ming was so young, but his combat strength had already entered the Great Emperor realm. In a few years, he would be even more impressive and would definitely become an invincible overlord. Lu Ming left the place and returned to his residence. With a thought, his soul appeared in the small world. It appeared on a mountain peak and looked into the distance. The current small world had a radius of 600,000 miles and was boundlessly vast. Moreover, Lu Ming had planted many spiritual and sacred herbs in the small world. He had also scattered the seeds of various plants. Now, there were many places in the small world that were covered in green grass and flowers. There were also some small trees in some places. It was not very old yet and there were no large trees. Similarly, there were no animals or demonic beasts. However, the small world was becoming more and more similar to the outside world. Lu Ming planned to let some animals, demonic beasts and the like in the future. That way it would be no different from the outside world. Of course, although Lu Ming's cultivation level had improved very quickly, there was still a large area of territory that was deathly silent and lifeless. This required time for the vegetation in the small world to slowly multiply. With a thought, Lu Ming came to the Path Understanding Ancient Tree. The Path Understanding Ancient Tree had been planted on a plain. It was now 500 meters tall. This was all due to the five-colored soil. The 500-meter tall Path Understanding Ancient Tree shot up into the sky. Its trunk was extremely thick and between its branches there was a great Tao. Cultivating here would greatly increase the speed of comprehending nomological laws. With the ancient martial tree as the center, the plain was covered in green grass and fresh flowers. The fragrance of the flowers assailed the nose. It was mainly because of the five-colored soil that the vegetation in this area was particularly strong. There were also many spiritual and sacred medicines that smelled good. Lu Ming sat cross-legged under the Path Understanding Ancient Tree, cultivating quietly. The news that Lu Ming had defeated Lan Mo was spreading like wildfire. Everyone who heard the news was first shocked, then overjoyed, shocked, jealous and angry. There were all kinds of expressions and emotions. Lu Ming had caused another wave in the vast land of the Taiqing heavenly region. 7 days passed in the blink of an eye. On this day the Hangyu Heavenly Emperor came to Lu Ming's residence. The Hangyu Heavenly Emperor did not conceal his aura. Lu Ming sensed his arrival the moment he arrived. Lu Ming ended his cultivation and met with the Hangyu Heavenly Emperor. Senior Hangyu, may first know why you are looking for Lu Ming? Lu Ming said with a smile. Lu Ming, I heard that you defeated Lan Mo, so one came to take a look. Aha, you're really amazing. Even I was shocked. Heavenly Emperor Hangyu said with a smile. Chapter 23:35. The Hangyu Heavenly Emperor was overjoyed. Lu Ming came from the primordial realm and he had a deep relationship with Lu Ming. He was happier to see Lu Ming's achievements than to see him break through. Lu Ming, given your current combat strength, I'm afraid that the training in Two World City won't be very effective. Heavenly Emperor Hangyu said. I'm planning to cultivate for a while and raise my cultivation to the peak of True Emperor. Then, I'll go to the battlefield of emperors to gain some experience. Lu Ming said. The battlefield of emperors? If we go now, I'm afraid it won't have much effect. Heavenly Emperor Hangyu said. No effect. Lu Ming was stunned. In the battlefield of great emperors, weren't there many great emperors from both sides fighting and tempering themselves? Now there's no one left in the battlefield of great emperors. The great emperors from both sides have gone to the Void God Island. Heavenly Emperor Hangyu said. Void God Island? Lu Ming was puzzled. This was the first time he heard this name. That's right. The Void God Island is a mysterious place that was discovered a few years ago. It's located in the eternal void and contains countless treasures. Now, many great sovereign realm figures have entered the Void God Island. Heavenly Emperor Hangyu explained. Even outsiders can enter? Lu Ming asked. That's right. That island is located in the void and is eternally suspended. Both parties can reach it. It contains countless treasures, all kinds of heavenly materials and earthly treasures, chaos stones, primordial chaos stones, supreme grade rough stones, great Tao fragments, heavenly Tao marks, and even heavenly Tao soldiers. Heavenly Emperor Hangye's eyes lit up with a fiery light as he spoke. We even have Heaven Tao soldiers. Lu Ming was also shocked. Heaven Tao soldiers were Celestial Emperor weapons, and they contained Heaven Tao. Once a figure in the Heavenly Emperor realm controlled a Heavenly Emperor weapon and activated the power of the Heavenly Tao inside, the combat strength of a Heavenly Emperor would be greatly enhanced. However, Celestial Emperor weapons were extremely rare. Celestial Emperor weapons weren't like great sovereign weapons. Heavenly sovereigns could forge great sovereign weapons, and even some powerful great sovereigns could. However, the Celestial the Arch himself was unable to create the Heaven Tao soldiers. The Celestial the Arch could only borrow the power of the Heavenly Tao. It was impossible for him to forge a weapon that contained the Heavenly Tao. Celestial Emperor weapons could only be forged by supreme powerhouses who had surpassed the Celestial Emperor realm. In addition, some celestial emperor weapons that contained the heavenly Tao could also be nurtured in nature, but the number was extremely small. In fact, most of the celestial emperors still used emperor-level weapons. Once a celestial emperor controlled a celestial emperor weapon, his combat strength would skyrocket. As such, the price of a celestial emperor weapon was astonishingly high. Lu Ming did not expect that the Void Island actually contained a celestial the arch weapon. That's right, and there's definitely a lot of them. In the past few years, some people have already brought out celestial emperor weapons, which caused a sensation. The fire in Heavenly Emperor Heng Ye's eyes became even more intense. He didn't have a celestial the arch weapon. For example, the celestial Thearch sword in Lu Ming's hand was not a celestial the arch weapon. It was only a great emperor weapon and did not contain the heavenly Tao. Wouldn't even the celestial emperors be envious of such a treasure land? What's the point of a great emperor entering? Lu Ming was puzzled. The Void God Island contains a shocking pressure that can suppress the heavenly Tao. Heavenly emperors can't enter at all. Only those below the heavenly emperor level can enter. Therefore, it's the most suitable for a great sovereign to enter. Heavenly Emperor Heng Yu said. What? It can even suppress the heavenly Tao. This. Lu Ming's eyes widened in shock. In this world, what was the highest? It was the heavenly Tao. The heavenly Tao controlled all things in the world, and all things in the world existed and evolved under the operation of the heavenly Tao. The celestial the arch was at the peak of martial arts, but he could only borrow the power of the heavenly Tao. Now that Lu Ming heard that there was a pressure that could suppress the heavenly Tao, he was naturally shocked. Could he be at the level of the ancestral dragon? Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat and he thought of the ancestor dragon. Dandan had once said that the ancestral dragon's realm had surpassed the celestial emperors and reached a completely different realm, a supreme realm. Many people speculated that the Void God Island was a ritual ground of a supreme figure in the distant past, floating in the eternal void. That figure had already transcended the heavenly path, and even the heavenly path was suppressed by him. That's why he had such a terrifying might. This also explains why there are so many celestial the arch weapons on the island. A person like that can definitely forge a celestial the arch weapon. Heavenly Emperor Heng Yu explained. Lu Ming was deeply shocked. It was hard to imagine what kind of treasures would appear in such a place. I'm here to ask you if you'd like to go to the Void God Island. However, it's very dangerous. There are already some dangerous places on the island, and with the great emperors of the alien races in the heaven realm, it's very dangerous. If you don't want to go, you can just cultivate in Two World City. Heavenly Emperor Heng Yu said. He'll go. Lu Ming immediately nodded, his eyes determined. Lu Ming would definitely not miss such a treasure trove. There were all sorts of heavenly materials and earthly treasures on it, such as chaos stones, primordial chaos stones, great Tao fragments, and so on. These would definitely be of help to Lu Ming's cultivation. Moreover, training on it and fighting in life and death situations would be even more beneficial to Lu Ming. If he wanted to catch up to or even surpass Xian Yanqing, he couldn't cultivate normally. He had to take risks. Alright, 111 make the arrangements for you. However, you have to remember one thing. On the Void God Island, there are times when danger will come from the people of the heaven realm. There are no restrictions when it comes to snatching treasures there, and people on your side will also attack people on your side. Heavenly Emperor Heng Yu said. Lu Ming nodded. He had experienced so much. He was naturally clear about this. During this period of time, try your best to increase your strength. I will inform you after I have made the arrangements. Heavenly Emperor Heng Yu left after he finished speaking. As for Lu Ming, he returned to his residence and thought about the direction of his cultivation. Next, Lu Ming planned to raise his cultivation level to 7-star True Emperor. This was the fastest way to increase his combat strength. Once his cultivation reached 7-star True Emperor, he could try to break through to Great Emperor Realm. However, Lu Ming did not plan to break through to the Great Emperor Realm so soon. Once he broke through to the Great Emperor Realm, his Great Tao would be fixed. It would be difficult to integrate more laws. Lu Ming was ambitious. He wanted to successfully cultivate all 10 ultimate maxims to the Third Realm and then break through to the Great Emperor Realm. If that happened, he did not know what level his Great Tao would reach. This was something that ordinary people did not even dare to think about. However, Lu Ming was completely capable of doing it. After thinking for a while, Lu Ming took out a few pieces of the world core and started to refine it to increase his world energy. He had refined all the chaos gems in his possession. Now he could only refine the world core and Ori rocks to increase his world power. The speed was naturally much slower. However, Lu Ming's cultivation base was already at the limit of a 6-star True Emperor. He was only one step away from becoming a 7-star true emperor. It was not difficult for him to make a breakthrough. Lu Ming spent a month's time and finally broke through the bottleneck. He raised his cultivation level to 7-star true emperor. Lu Ming's combat strength had undoubtedly become stronger. Chapter 2336. Lu Ming continued to consolidate his cultivation. A few days later, the Hangyu Heavenly Emperor arrived. Everything has been arranged and we can set off immediately. Not long after, the Hangyu Heavenly Emperor brought Lu Ming along as they tore through space and rushed to a place. An hour later, Lu Ming and the group appeared on a boundless ocean. This sea was an inland sea of the Taiqing Heavenly region. It was vast and boundless. At this moment there were already some people waiting. Lu Ming swept his gaze across the crowd. Apart from the Hangyu Heavenly Emperor, there were 3 other Heavenly Emperors. In addition to the 3 Heavenly Emperors, there were 5 other Great Emperors. Among the 5 Great Emperors, there were elders and middle-aged men. 2 of them caught Lu Ming's attention, because the 2 of them looked exactly the same. It was obvious that they were twins. The twin brothers had both reached the Great Emperor realm. This was extremely rare. It was obvious that these Great Emperors were also heading to the Void God Island. Lu Ming's eyes swept across the sea again. Up ahead there was a space that was extremely unstable. It was constantly twisting and spatial cracks would occasionally appear. This was the spatial tunnel that led to the Void God Island. On the way here, the Hangyu Heavenly Emperor had already told Lu Ming about the spatial passageway in detail. In fact, Two World City was not the only way to come to the Taiqing Heavenly region from other heavenly regions. There were 2 other passages from another battlefield. There were also other hidden void passages that could lead to other heavenly regions. Some could even lead to other worlds such as the Evil God world. However, these passages were usually extremely small, unstable, and chaotic. Usually, only one person could pass through at a time, and a little more than that could fit 2 or 3 people. Any more than that would not do. Furthermore, these passageways were extremely chaotic and dangerous. Even great emperors could get lost in them. Only the Celestial the Arch could pass through safely. At the entrance of these passages, on the side of the Heaven Realm, there were naturally terrifying experts guarding it. Although there was nothing in the surroundings except for them, Lu Ming was sure that there was a terrifying powerhouse guarding this area. Once a foreign tribe powerhouse crossed the passage, he would be killed. Moreover, this kind of passage usually only allowed 1, 2 or 3 people to pass through. If the alien races dared to come over, they would be surrounded and killed by the masters of the Heaven Realm. In fact, there were several such passages in the Taiqing Heavenly region, and they were all guarded by experts to prevent foreign tribe experts from breaking in. Lu Ming. Everyone's eyes were on Lu Ming, full of surprise. He did not expect that Lu Ming would also want to enter the Void God Island. As people of the Heaven Realm, I hope that you can help each other when you enter the Void God Island. One of the Celestial Thearchs said as he looked at Lu Ming and the rest. Naturally. Definitely. The Great Emperors nodded one after another. Lu Ming nodded as well. It's almost time, let's go. Another Great Emperor said. With a wave of his hand, a wave of energy enveloped the twin brothers. At this moment, the space above the sea twisted and a spatial crack appeared. The Heavenly Emperor's figure moved, and he rushed into the spatial crack with the twin brothers, disappearing from sight. This passageway could only allow 3 people to travel at a time. The others waited quietly. After a while, another Celestial Emperor led 2 people into a spatial rift. The third group was a Celestial Emperor, and he led a woman in a palace dress into a spatial rift. Only the Hangyu Heavenly Emperor and Lu Ming were left at the scene. They waited for a moment. Lu Ming, let's go. The Eternal Universe Heavenly Emperor waved his hand and a wave of energy enveloped Lu Ming. In a flash, he brought Lu Ming into a spatial rift. As soon as they entered the spatial rift, endless spatial storms swept toward them. The Eternal Universe Heavenly Emperor ignored them and rushed into the spatial storm. Soon they passed through the spatial storm and arrived at a small void passageway. This void passage was extremely small, and it could only allow 3 people to walk in at most. It was surrounded by chaos and darkness, and a powerful pressure was pressing down on them. Heavenly Emperor Hangyu brought Lu Ming along at an astonishing speed. They flew past the void around them. After an unknown amount of time, the path ahead suddenly became a dead end, turning into darkness. The void passage was broken. The Hangyu Heavenly Emperor brought Lu Ming to a stop. He closed his eyes and sensed carefully. Suddenly, the Hangyu Heavenly Emperor brought Lu Ming to the right and broke through the darkness. After a while, they arrived at another void passageway. Only the powerhouses of the Heavenly Emperor realm could sense it and find the right path. If it were an ordinary person, even a great emperor, he would probably be lost in the dark void. If he was unlucky, he would never be able to get out and would be forever wandering in the dark void. Just like that, he walked and stopped. A few days passed. Suddenly, a bright light came from the front. In the eternally silent dark void, there was actually a glow. Lu Ming was slightly shocked. At the same time, he knew that he was about to reach his destination. Sure enough, in the next moment, they entered the void tunnel and came to a vacuum area. Yes, this area seemed to have been forcibly opened up in the dark void by someone. There was no spatial storm in this area, as if it was the sky outside. This area was shockingly large. In the center of this area, there was an island floating. From a distance, there seemed to be a sun hanging in the sky directly above the island. The light was scattered down from that sun. The Celestial, the Arch, the twin brothers, and the others who had entered earlier were all waiting there. When they saw the Hangyu Celestial, the Arch, and Lu Ming, they nodded and flew toward the island. This area was extremely vast and shockingly large. With the speed of the Heavenly Emperor realm, it took them quite a long time to fly there. When they got close to the island, they realized that the island was shockingly large. It was not an island, but a continent. This Void God Island is extremely vast. Some people have estimated that it might be 1/10 the size of the Taiching Heavenly region. Heavenly Emperor Hangyu said. The others were secretly shocked. It was 1/10 the size of the Taiching Heavenly region. This was only a human Taoist rite temple, but it was really a big deal. However, when they were a certain distance away from the island, the Hangyu Heavenly Emperor and the others stopped. We can't go any further. Well, be suppressed by that pressure. Next, you can go on your own. A Heavenly Emperor said. With your cultivations, don't go too deep into the island. You can move around in the periphery of the island because many high-level great emperors have gone into the depths of the island. Another advanced Heavenly Emperor. Everyone nodded their heads before flying towards the Void God Island by themselves. Senior, farewell. Lu Ming bade farewell to the Hangyu Heavenly Emperor. Lu Ming, be careful. The Hangyu Heavenly Emperor said solemnly. Lu Ming nodded, then turned and flew toward the Void God Island. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.